Hey, what's going on, people? This is Melissa for Pep Talk UK. Please remember to comment, share, like and subscribe. I'm joined by Deon the Ghost Jumah off the back of a training session with his trainer Gary Logan. So first and foremost, how was your training session?
Training session was good. I don't have a fight pending right now, so we got to practice a lot of new techniques as well as covering the basics, you know. So a lot of stuff we didn't get to do usually, we got to do today, so happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to have strong basics, right?
It's the most important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the most important. I think when you're in a full-time camp though, you end up working on the tools that are gonna essentially just defeat your opponent.
Yeah, win you that fight.
But yeah, it's always important to go back to basics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good step into 2019 as well, just like starting off like working on those basics, feeling your way around training and figuring out what you really want to focus on going into the new year. So your boxing name, The Ghost,
yeah.
Where did that come from?
It actually came from not being able to get hold of me when people phone me and not texting back when people text me, but I think I'm getting better at it now. It's one of the things I've got to improve on, but we're working on it.
I don't know, but that just seems like the most interesting boxing name that I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
It's
especially because it's got nothing to do with boxing.
Nothing to do with boxing.
But do you know what? I have become more evasive in my style. My head movement's got a lot better. So
it's like
so maybe,
yeah.
So I've grown into it. You know, so, yeah.
No, I like it. Okay, so like talking about your history and like your build up into the professional boxing ranks. You had quite a short amateur career,
yeah,
but a very successful one.
Yeah.
Two-time ABA champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk me through it. Like, you know, what made you transition into the professional ranks quite so quickly?
I was fighting before I took on amateur boxing. I've always been in combat sports from young. My mum put me in karate from like 6 years old because I was just such a hyperactive kid, and then from 11 I was doing kickboxing.
Yeah.
Got really good at kickboxing, was winning titles at kickboxing, won British title, won European title, won world title. By the time I was 19 I decided it's time to turn over. I want to do pro boxing.
Yeah.
I remember talking to George Groves, because George Groves was a friend of mine at the time, and he was also someone who did kickboxing and was taught by the same guy as me, Dennis Maycock. And I said I want to turn pro, and he said yeah, come with Adam. And I remember them getting me to spar this pro, and he was a bit lighter than me, and I remember him bashing the life out of me.
Really?
Like, yeah, just bashing me up like I was absolutely nothing. So from there I decided to go amateur. I decided I got to learn the craft a bit before I turned pro.
Yeah.
And yeah, the plan was to always go pro boxing. I'd always been a massive fan of the sport. The guys I used to watch like Nigel Benn like so much. I used to want to be Nigel Benn, you know what I mean? And so yeah, the amateur thing, I always planned on it being short. I always planned that, listen, I need to win ABA titles so I can have that amateur pedigree, so that I can hopefully when I get turned over make enough money, or they can offer me some good money to turn over. And I did 3 ABAs. I got to the final and won, got robbed in the final, and the next 2 I won. So 2-time ABA champion in 3 ABAs.
Not a bad record, is it?
In 3 years. So yeah, I did do things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And in between that, I was on the GB squad as well. So yeah.
So really good experience. I mean,
yeah, wicked.
It's also a reputation thing, right? Like 2-time ABA champion, it just sounds good. You know what I mean? You get the experience, you have that pedigree in the amateur division, and also it gives you that, like, I imagine, that confidence going into the pro ranks.
Definitely. I think if you look back in history at the guys who've won ABA titles, especially the guys who've won 2 or more, they normally go on to be standout professionals.
Yeah.
So yeah, it adds on to the confidence in a big way.
It's not a small achievement at the end of the day. So then, yeah, you turned pro.
Yep.
And you were fighting out of Germany.
Yep.
How was that transition for you? Obviously going into a different country and fighting there.
I really liked the fact that I was stepping outside my comfort zone. That's kind of why I did it.
Yeah.
New country, different type of fighters, because they fight quite differently from us. And the main reason I went over there is because I was a cruiserweight, and they at the time had the best cruiserweights in the world. And Sauerland shows they don't like light guys. There's not many lightweight fighters. There's not many welterweight fighters. It's normally light, heavy, cruiser heavy. So I thought that would be a good place to shine. I got some great sparring out there with some top lads like Pablo Hernandez, Marco Huck, to name a few. So it just seemed like the right thing to do, and it wasn't something that I looked for. The opportunity just kind of came to me. It fell in my lap, so I just took it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, if like that opportunity comes your way and it feels like the right thing to do, sometimes you just got to follow your gut and step out of your comfort zone. That's how you grow, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so at the point where you turned pro, you had a few fights before you took a little break from boxing. You know, what was the break about? You know, I know that you had an injury, but you also had some other conditions going on. Yeah.
I'd say like after my second fight, I was developing some like major chest pains, and I didn't know exactly what it was. And at the time, I've always been a fighter who kind of just ignores injuries, ignores illnesses, just works through them, because that's what a lot of fighters do.
Yeah, and sometimes you're scared to find out what's got you.
You know what I mean? But they got worse and they got worse and they got worse. And I remember I had my third fight, and I won the fight, but I remember it just not feeling so well after the fight. And I remember taking some time off, but I think Gary called me and he said, listen, young Pablo Hernandez wants you for sparring because he's got a southpaw soon. So I was like, do you know what, I've got to take this opportunity. Also, them sparring partners at the time pay you more money than you get for any fight at that level. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I need the money, I need the sparring, why not? Went over there, did some sparring over there, did really well. On the 5th day of sparring, I just told them, like, listen guys, I feel really rough in it. Like, I don't think I can spar today. Yuli Wegner at the time, he told me, like, no problem, thank you, you did so well, like, go home tomorrow, like, thank you so much, thank you so much. I went to the hotel room, went to sleep, and I woke up and I just felt like, shit, like, something's wrong here, my arms were hurting. And I knew that's a sign of, like, a heart attack. Yeah. And I thought, okay, my flight's in 2 hours, I'm just gonna get to London, and I'll go straight to a hospital from London. Yeah. Went to the airport in Berlin. I was getting searched by some lady as you're going through customs, and next thing I know, I woke up in hospital. So really? It's like time travels. Wow. So I must have just passed out. And the doctors were telling me, your heart is massive. It's huge. They were like, what have you been doing? I was like, what do you mean, what have I been doing? Like, I was training. They were like, mate, like, no more training. Whatever you're doing, like, stop. And I ended up in that hospital for a week and a half. Gosh. And yeah, they just told me I had like a serious case of pericarditis, which is inflammation of the heart wall. And so yeah, I ended up taking some time out.
How did you feel receiving that news? Were you worried at the time that you would never be able to go back to boxing, that you'd never be able to get over it? Or were you thinking like...
do you know what, those sort of worries never came in my head. The worry was that I'm going to have to take some serious time out boxing. And I had a bit of momentum there. I had Box Nation were putting me on their shows, and everyone was getting to know who I am, so everything I'd worked hard for has to take a back seat, and there's a chance that when I come back
start, almost
yeah,
like starting
have
from
to
scratch.
start all again, and will I be the same person? Will I be the same fighter? Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like I can stay in the gym right now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I took some time out and slowly been trying to get myself back. I came back for a while, but then I developed a shoulder injury. So it's literally been one thing after another. If you're
Stop and start.
If you're someone who reads the signs, you'd quit boxing. But I obviously don't. Yeah, I obviously don't read the signs. This is just what I want to do, and I'm 29 years old now, and I've still got time. So
yeah,
so
now
here
is
I
the
am.
time, right?
Here I am. Yeah.
No, it's all about, at the end of the day, like, you work through these things, like, you get over the injuries. Obviously, if your heart condition's, like, you know, being taken care of and you've recovered from that, you know, the other injuries, the physical injuries, the things that you can, you know, you can recover from and heal. And obviously you've come back very strong because, you know, Southern Area champ, you know?
Exactly. I've come to realise that it was just a part of my journey. We all have a unique path, and my part of my journey was, can you, like, yeah, you can fight, yeah, you can win, yeah, you can train hard, but do you have what it takes to heal yourself? And I had to
have the patience as well,
exactly,
right?
and that's something I never did have, because I was someone who never had injuries. I was someone who, whenever my peers were injured, had a little injury here, a little injury there, I'd be like, baby, do you know what I mean? Like, because I never had anything serious myself. But yeah, it was a serious life lesson, and I think it's made me a more complete fighter.
Yeah. So, 2019, what is on the horizon for you? Obviously, the Cruiserweight division in the UK it's solid. You know, it's a really solid. Yeah.
I think that's the word for it. I think it's solid, as in there are talented fighters, but at the same time, I think not all of them have proved themselves, including myself. Top dog at the moment is Lawrence Okolie. He's proved that he can be a top fighter when he beat Askins in that terrible fight, but he won the fight, and he's the British champion.
Yeah.
There are other fighters there who they have the talent, but can they do it under the lights?
Yeah.
Under the pressure against another good fighter? Yeah. So it's an exciting division. There's a lot of matches to be made.
Yeah.
Not just with me, but with other fighters. And it's I'm happy to be here in this division, definitely.
It's a really exciting time for the division. Like, it's one of my favourite divisions to watch in the UK for sure. If you had if you could pick someone from the division to fight next year, if it was only one, who would it be?
Lawrence Okolie.
Yeah.
100%. He believes he's the best in the division, or he makes out like he does, and he's the British champion, a very prestigious belt. I don't think he's ready for world level yet, so why don't we make that fight? Yeah. I've watched him many times, and I know I can beat him. Not really impressed with a lot of the things he does, and I know how he wins, and it's just by being big and awkward. Yeah. I don't think he's that confident in his boxing ability. So if he fought me, he'd have to box. He'd have to. So he says he can. He says he's been in the GB squad. He went to Olympics, whatever. So
it'd be a really great
needs
fight.
To be able to prove it. Yeah,
it'd be a really interesting fight.
Yeah.
And who's your favourite boxer of all time? I know you probably get asked that a lot.
It's hard to say, man.
You can only have one, and that's the only stipulation.
Of all time, you know what? Do you know what? Because I've got favourite fighters, but I'll never say they're the best of all time. Like, my favourites, a fighter who I grew up with watching a lot is Evander Holyfield. I think just heart, boxing skills, just tenacity, just the guy is a monster. I just think he's brilliant. The best of all time.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm going to rephrase the question. So you can have two, yeah? So a former, so a boxer from the past and a boxer from the present.
Are we talking favourites or best?
Favourites. So, okay, you know, best in your opinion, but favourites.
I really like Errol Spence Jr. Like, he is just too much, just so well schooled, so well rounded as a fighter. He's got everything. Saying that, I fight absolutely nothing like him. Do you know what I mean? But like, it is what it is. What's the second one of all time?
It's hard to pick, isn't it? It's such a big pool of talent.
So hard. If you look at what someone's achieved, I think you need to respect Roberto Duran coming through the weights in the way he did, and just being such a force, and just his boxing skills. I think people don't pay enough attention to Roberto Duran's boxing skills. People just think he's a fighter, a brawler, but if you actually watch what the guy's doing, the guy's a genius.
Yeah.
The guy's an absolute genius. The stuff he can do to bigger opponents on the inside, mid-range, even on the outside. His jab's even fantastic. His head movement, you can't really land a clean shot on the guy.
Head movement is so important.
But he's such a titan that people just see him as this fighter, this monster. But he's actually quite a brainy fighter.
Well, it's the beauty of boxing, isn't it? Like, the casual boxing fan can watch it and go, oh yeah, I like that because they're brawling, and then the more like experienced boxing fan can watch it and appreciate someone for their technical ability. So exactly. It's a great sport like that.
It is.
Anyway, 2019 is literally on our doorstep. Obviously, we wish you the absolute best of luck. We see you going very big places.
Oh, thank you. I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.